nearly impossible to measure the excitement among fans down here, but I will tell you this. I wore my favorite earrings because I knew all eyes were going to be on Camp Randall as both teams take the field for a matchup that's sure to be hot. New this year, ghost fireworks. The organizer describes them as fireworks that kind of fizzle out from left to right. I hear that all of the fireworks that are going to be shown tonight come from the Midwest, and I hear that tonight's show is going to be so bright, you may actually need some shades. The spokesman tells me that following this year's event, city leaders plan to assess whether or not it was a good idea to allow folks to have those open intoxicants out on the street. Back to you, Maria. Things at Camp Randall are quieting down now, but the streets around the stadium are still buzzing with that thrilling victory from the Badgers. Now, for one family, that whole battle began well before kickoff. The Wisconsin DOT estimates that 60,000 vehicles use that stretch of highway every day, and they estimate that that number could jump to as high as 80,000 by 2030. No major incidents and no arrests. That's what we're hearing from law enforcement officials down here, keeping tabs on the massive crowds. Now, folks rallying around the square tell me that it wasn't difficult for them to coexist peacefully. That is crap. Finger pointing and heated exchanges seem to be fueling the debate surrounding Governor Walker's budget repair bill. Some marchers at the square say the yelling is therapeutic.
I don't think any minds are really being changed out here. Do you guys think so? I think everybody's got their side, and I don't think minds are being changed. I think that you come out and express yourself and get out a little bit, and you go back to work on Monday.
Law enforcement officials from around the state are providing support to the Capitol Police, including the Madison Police Department. With competing opinions converging on the square on Saturday, MPD added 120 more uniforms to help keep the heated words from sparking violence.
People kind of getting up close to one another and pushing a little bit. We had officers who stepped in between folks. I did that myself a couple of times, saying let's just dial it back a little bit, and they did. Despite
some heated debate around the Capitol, Madison police say things have remained quiet, and one marcher says that's how things are supposed to be.
I feel tense when I walk by people who have a different opinion than me, but I think that that's one of the beautiful things about democracy. We can have different opinions, and we can still be civil about it.
Overrun by the
Until the bill comes to a resolution, the sign-waving passionate debates will continue. There is one thing both sides seem to agree with: more rallying.
And stand right next to each other without killing each other.
Now, Maria, the Madison Police Department tells me that they will continue to support the Capitol Police as long as the rallies are being hosted down here at the Capitol Square. Before the sirens and engines responded to the fire in the 6900 block of Old Sauk Court in Madison, several firefighters were already working the scene.
We're very lucky just to all be able to get here and do what we do.
Saving lives is what firefighters do, and that doesn't stop when you're off the clock.
Well, I had actually seen the smoke from probably 2-3 blocks away.
Thick clouds of smoke led Middleton firefighter Joe Gangler to this balcony. An elderly woman and her dog were trapped, and what happened next could be straight out of a movie.
Well, I grabbed a patio chair over there and was able to set it here and get a good enough grip on this pipe to climb up enough to grab the deck and get up there.
With flames at his back and only seconds to react,
someone reached up and I was able to lower the dog down, and at that point I was thinking, I have no clue how I'm going to get this woman down.
Fate steps in, and two more firefighters, Kyle Annan and his dad, also come to the rescue.
There was flames shooting out the balcony window with an older lady hanging off with Joey Gangler up there with her.
A neighbor gives the men a ladder to get Joe and the woman off the balcony. But their work was far from over when, just like the smoke, the plot thickens.
I had flip-flops on at the time, ran inside, grabbed my running shoes, and sprinted over here.
A fourth, off-duty firefighter, Ted Higgins, also dashes to the scene. And to his shock, he sees some familiar faces.
We couldn't believe that the other people were there, but we just didn't talk about it, just went to work and sorted out the details later.
The crew managed to get several people and their pets out of the building safely. And like true heroes, they're humble about what they did.
You just do the job that you're trained to do, and thankfully the training paid off.
We were in bed sleeping.
Elaine Manny and her husband Archie woke up to a nightmare.
I heard a noise and I thought he needed help, so I reached out to turn on the light, And somebody said, "Don't turn the light on." Well, it was already on. And there's this guy standing there with a gun pointing at me.
Elaine says the men told her to keep her hands on her chest. They took her jewelry and Archie's wallet.
They took my pair of jeans that I wore yesterday. Well, he used the jeans to pick up stuff. He checked the pockets to see if there was any money in it, and then he used it like it was a pair of gloves.
Their neighbor, Donald McCarthy, says there have been a few car break-ins in the area, but nothing like this.
I've lived here for 40 years, or better than 40 years, you know, and I feel real safe around here. So, I mean, I guess I'm just surprised that it happened.
The two suspects in custody, 20-year-old Jonathan Wilson and 17-year-old Marquise Howard, were pulled over during a routine traffic stop on Madison's east side. Investigators say they found items taken from the couple's home inside their car. For more than 45 years, Elaine and Archie have called this their home, and despite what happened, that won't change.
I'm just glad that they didn't hurt us. So, because none of the stuff is worth our lives.
The Manny's 60th wedding anniversary is in August, but Elaine says now they don't feel like celebrating. Madison police are still looking for a third suspect. If you have any information, you're asked to call the Madison Area Crime Stopper.
We've put as much red and white out as we possibly could.
The usual sea of red filling Madison now looks like a black cloud as Husker fans come out in full force to cheer for their team. Union South is rolling out the red carpet for all football fans.
The biggest thing was figuring out where every single place in the building that we could put a television set, because we know that a lot of people aren't going to be able to get into the game and they're going to want to watch the game. So we have been running wires all over the place to get more televisions in the building.
850 people are expected at the Husker Huddle, one of several parties welcoming Husker fans to Wisconsin. Some say it's not easy to cheer for Herbie Husker living in Badger Country.
They play great football, and it's always great to be a fan of the Cornhuskers. And now that they're going to be on TV in the Big Ten, we're going to get to see a lot more games.
The colors may look the same, but Husker fans from Nebraska say it's loyalty that separates the scarlet and cream from the cardinal and white.
The Huskers are all we have in Nebraska. We don't have any pro teams. So we like to follow our Huskers, and we're true to them.
You need to have championship blood. You know, we've been champions before.
If you think red and you think Huskers, you could be a Husker.
Police estimate 20,000 to 40,000 Husker fans are here in Madison enjoying the game.